You know, with my sight loss, it was gradual over time, and while the Fireworks like really is as good as it gets in terms of me being able to see something, at the Fireworks at English Bay, they sometimes are so beautiful and so delicately arranged, and the colors are so subtle that you can be there and the whole beach will go silent. And, you know, and that's pretty amazing. You can have 300,000 people on the beach and it's dead quiet. And it's at those moments that I know that there's something really, really mesmerizingly beautiful occurring. And with the loss of my eyesight, I started to just yearn for having more connection with what was happening. I was becoming more aware of I'm missing something really, really beautiful. And I just wanted that to be kind of filled in. And I started to sort of train my friends in the vocabulary and how to describe, because each of the effects has a unique name, you know, then there's different styles. Some are like a sphere, and some are like look like comets, and some, you know, have the shape of a flower, chrysanthemum, and so there's different names for the different kind of styles of effects. And so my friends would whisper the names to me in my ear as we were watching, and which was helpful because at least it gave me an idea of what's going on. But it also, there's so much that's happening that words can't capture. You know, when an effect goes up and then it decreases in speed and it starts to curve to the side, and then it breaks open in these bright stars and they start to fall down, and then each of those breaks open again into more stars coming down. You know, to say all that in words quickly is just almost impossible. And it was realizing that. There was once I was there and I said, would you just, and it was out with, at one point I asked Steph, I said, can you just take your finger and trace that out? Because I was interested in the speed of how something was coming down.
There was a really slow burning ember falling. It was a long, after the effect had died out, and this big hunk of ember just slowly falling, and I was describing it as falling, and then Collin asked me to trace it. Yes, trace it on as well.
Yeah. And so just with that touch, it told me so much more information than the words themselves could. And the words are helpful because, you know, she can say orange or pink or, you know, gold turning into red or things like that. And that's like, okay, because I've had eyesight, I know what that means, and I can imagine that. But the other information about the speed and the sort of the brilliance of the effects and everything, you can really communicate that so much more fully with touch. And so it was that, and there was another friend I was going to the Fireworks with, and I had her trace them out on my thigh, and then it was obvious, you know, I think it was obvious to both Steph and I at around the same time, like, we need to go beyond just words to really start to describe this. And that's where the idea of using the back and with fingers came up. It's just like it's the perfect space to do that. You know, on our bodies, our backs are pretty sensitive. We have a lot of room to work with, and that just using the fingers, then we can draw out the shapes and the speed and how many different things are going on, or if the effects go up high, you can just trace your fingers, you know, high up on the back, up to the neck, or even to the top of the head if you need to. Lower effects that might be at the level of the barge on English Bay, they can be communicated, you know, just using the lower part of the back, and effects that are in between can be shown. So with the fingers, then it's really the fingers are almost like kind of paintbrushes that are painting on someone's skin in real time what you see happening up in the sky. And so what this means for me personally, because I do really like the fireworks, and I also really like that feeling of community and the feeling of connection that you get when you're taking in a moment of beauty with other people. And it's just, it can just be so profoundly moving. And so through this technique, it's kind of reconnected me with other people in experiencing that moment together on English Bay. And that's tremendously powerful for me and really meaningful in terms of being inclusive. So it's a way that I get included in that moment along with other people who can see it.
Get to ooh and ah at the same time.
I do. And then I get the goosebumps at the same time that someone who can see it gets that, And so to be part of that moment, I think it's lovely. So it's really a joy, and that VocalEye and Steph have said, like, okay, let's work this out. And so as we go, we're sort of been inventing some guidelines for how do you do this. And there's some basic shapes and effects that we will be experimenting with describing today. And that sort of forms a foundation for the description you can give to someone. And beside just the mechanics of the technique, it also gives you an opportunity to connect with someone with vision impairment in a really, really nice way. It's a very elegant, interesting, connected way of describing and sharing with someone like me an experience that is so visually intricate. And so I really like that aspect of it too. It's very connected. And so we're connecting with one another as we do it, and in the bigger picture is to connect with the fireworks that are happening out there in the sky, and it brings all these connections back together.